Patch notes. Anyways, how's it going, hippies, Mrs. Misters? It's Julie, and we are here with a new face and new notes. Looks like a lot of people got buffed, and my favorite little boy got nerfed. Let's look at the notes. Starting with Gohan, Friendship Boost. Energy attack up effect with allied heroes nearby added to 500. Allied defense up 400 to 500. Okay, so they're just buffing his passive, making him a more potent support unit when attacking with your ally. Masenkyaku has been decreased from 1.1 to 0.9. I think this is an overall good boost. Allows him to stun more often. Allows him to get more potent picks on a team fight. Overall, pretty good. Leave This to Me has had his energy defense self and target removed, probably in relation to the friendship boost. And now the defense down to enemies within barrier has been reduced. Okay. But the cooldown has been increased. I don't know enough about this skill 3. I don't play a lot of Kid Gohan. I think we'll have to look into this. I'll probably look into this a little bit later, see how I feel about this. Might add an addendum, might not. Who knows? But overall, I think that this is going to be a good bit for Gohan. This season has felt like play Ultimate Gohan or die, or if you are good enough, play hit or fail. But otherwise, Tech has kind of been struggling on the back end of there's not a lot of people that, you know, are worth playing outside of Ultimate Gohan. If you don't have money, you're kind of shit out of luck. Hopefully this Kid Gohan kind of changes that. Android 18 has had her base HP increased and her max HP increased. Overall, giving her a bit more survivability. I kind of like that. Doesn't really need to affect her kit. I think it's pretty good. Oob has had his base HP increase, but his max HP decreased. This is probably a good thing. Makes him a little bit less tanky in the end game. Gives him a little more squishiness, which I like. I like my DPS to be kind of like in a nice mid-range where they are squishy, but also they have enough HP to where if you know how to manage it, if you know how to manage your cooldowns, it's not really something you have to worry about. Cyclone Stream passive has been increased from 64 to 96. That's insane. To be completely fair, I think that 64 was good when the game was a bit slower, but also it was a problem when the game was a bit slower because I think it was a problem when the game was a bit slower because of the fact that 64 would like start to fall off. By the time you got to an enemy, it would probably be like at 32, 28 around that point. And then you have to like kind of waste your cooldowns, not waste them, but like use your cooldowns like preemptively to try to get yourself back into a position to do max damage with like very little of your cooldowns left. Whereas this now kind of gives you the ability to just be able to run your rush attack a bit more often and then use your cooldowns to kind of top yourself off versus trying to catch back up. I like that. And in conjunction with that, Rage Barrage has had its obtainable Cyclone increase from 2 to 4, obviously to keep up with the fact that you now have essentially, what is that? 64 and 96, 32. You've effectively increased it by 50%. So yeah, makes sense. Brutal Buster now has his rush effect hit and shooting chaser range increased from 346 to 666. Got you. So making it good off of level 1 is really good. On top of that, it makes it less likely that, you know, people are just going to neglect it because now they're getting an active boost to it in early game, which makes it pretty good for DPS down the line. Shooting Chaser also getting cooldown reduced of 6.5 of 8 seconds to 6.5. That is huge. I think that's going to be really good for Oob's longevity, on top of the fact that he has pretty decent damage. Oob is probably going to become a pretty decent contender alongside like Bojack for off meta picks. To be fair, I say off meta. I think Bojack is pretty meta alongside Vegito and Broly. It seems like those three are like the top picks for this season. Oob is looking like a pretty close second for like kind of like A tier, kind of like alongside Super Saiyan 3 Goku, who was like, regardless of his nerfs in previous seasons, was still a relatively potent DPS. Got an Obstructed Topo. In fighting stance, no obstruction effect itself has been added. So now he can't be stunned or like stunned out of his counter, which is good. It was good counterplay to be able to like have the ability to stun him out of his counter, but given the fact that you already could negate his counter if you just like burn through his health, I don't think the no obstruction is a bad thing. I think it gives him a little bit more leniency to be able to go into those fights with stunners, with people with grabs or grabs and stuff, or stuns and stuff, like the tanks like Cell and Vegeta, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, who could just punish you for just using that by just putting you into a wall or just grabbing you, you know. Overall, good buffs. Super Saiyan 3 Goku nerfs. Oh, it's my birthday. I love this. First hit has decreased from 450, 500, 600 to 400, 450, 550. And damage in a follow-up decreased from 130 across the board to 90 across the board. Fuck the Super Kamehameha. Fuck it. I hate it. I hate it so much. I want Super Saiyan 3 Goku dead. Please. Just kill him into the sun. Instant transmission Kamehameha been neutered across the board from 540, 600, 720 to 450, 500, 600, which is a massive nerf. It goes down 90, 100, 120 across it, only having that 50 boost instead of going up from 60 to 120. And then the damage and follow-up attacks decreased by 30 across the board. Good. I am happy with this. Kill Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Moving on. Legendary Super Saiyan Broly. Adjustments made to him is that his despair gauge has decreased from 5 to 2 seconds, meaning that you are less likely to want to like play safe with his giant knuckle just to keep the despair gauge stacks going. You actually are like more incentivized to go in, and it kind of makes for a better gameplay experience of a team fight, because now Broly isn't necessarily just sitting there kind of like holding his giant knuckle, holding his roar, kind of like tempering his skills. It kind of makes it to where Broly's less more like in your face and more punishable for that. The roar has been decreased from 9 to 7 seconds in compensation, and both despair gauge charges have been decreased overall with enemies on hit. So overall, Broly's kind of been nerfed, but the buff to his roar might offset it a bit because you're able to get your cooldown. You're able to get your cooldowns a little bit quicker now, I guess. Who knows? We'll have to see how this shakes out. Trunks's max HP has been increased, but his minimum HP has been increased, but his maximum HP has been decreased. I don't play Trunks. I don't like Trunks. I might do another Trunks video sometime in the future. I don't know. But for this, I'm okay with it. Gamma 1 and 2. Gamma 2's movement speed has been increased from 10 to 25%. Good. Gamma Strike has been decreased in compensation for that, and Special Pulse no longer staggers enemies on a hit, but it does have immune to all, and the range of rush attacks has been increased for it. I think that's good. I think that's good. I'm pretty, like, from my friends' perspectives of this, they are very much of the idea that like Gamma 2 sucks, and it's just like Gamma 1 that's like doing all the good work there. And so giving him like movement speed, you know, kind of makes up for it, I guess. Zarbon has had his damage decreased across the board, but in turn, he's had his defense down effect increased from 50 to 75, but also in turn, he's had his strike defense effect decrease from 8 to 5 seconds. So more potent on hit, less time with hit, overall about 45, like, you know, defense down effect kind of like lower, because, you know, it was 400 before and now it's like 355 now, if I'm doing the math off the top of my head correctly. But who knows? Dodoria has had his damage increased, the cooldown decreased, but the lunge speed scaling has been severely drawn back. I agree with this. I think Dodoria was not potent enough as a damage dealer, but way too potent as a disruptor. And now they've kind of like tweaked them to kind of be in the balance where it's decent damage, but also way less disruption on Imperial Decree. Overall, I agree. Bosses. Brienne de Chateau and Jaco have had their base HP increased from to 32,000 and 28,000 respectively. I agree with this. I love it, because there's been way too many times in a late game where somebody has like +5 snowball stacks and they just go in and ult the boss and the boss is immediately dead. Not saying that you can't do that, and not saying you shouldn't be rewarded for that, but in the overall health of the game, being able to nuke a boss like that before any level of engage can happen, like, you know, I'm more okay with you losing the boss after being able to put in an effort than losing the boss as the boss spawns in before you're able to, you know, even put up a fight. I like this. Vegito has been added to the Star Collection. Super Saiyan 3 Goku has been changed from one to 2, and AT has been changed from 2 to 3. Okay. And then Gammas have had their tech changed and more clearly introduced that rush attacks are being increased. And Super Saiyan 3 Goku has had his attacks changed to show that Kamehameha's damage has been increased once in IT. Overall, I like these patch notes. I think that we're gonna have to see how badly Super Saiyan 3 Goku's tombstone is going to be desecrated, because I will throw tomatoes at it. But overall, I think that this patch note is pretty good. Honestly, none of this means anything if we don't know how Bardock shakes out into all of this, but we will see. Thank you all so much for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.